Welcome back, everyone, to our next panel, which is on the state of digital governance, looking at cities. The district administration and municipalities have always been on the forefront and are really the face of the Sarkar, the government, to the common man. In the last panel, we discussed the state of digital governance from the district's perspective, and the current panel looks at it from the perspective of the cities. We have been experiencing rapid urbanization in the last few years, which is coupled with the recent pandemic that brought about enhanced challenges for the municipalities and all the cities together. There has been a major strain on financials too. There is a need to look into the future requirements on a planned basis, taking into account the massive resource requirements to meet higher stakeholder expectations. Needless to say that the expectation of the citizen while interacting with the government have really shot up, and more so in post-pandemic phase. Moving backwards a bit, empowerment of ULBs under 74th constitutional amendment has also been lagging, whether it is to do with the formation of metropolitan planning committees at the city level or transport planning or mohalla samitis. There is a lot that needs to be done. Talking of smart cities on the other side, each city is expected to complete its projects within 5 years from the beginning itself in different time periods from the date of selection. Also remains a fact that nearly 50% of about over 5,000 projects have remained unfinished, different stages of development. According to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, 40% of India's population will be living in its cities by 2030, meaning that the pressure on the cities is going to be mounting year on year. Improving the infrastructure and digitally enhancing the cities is the need of the hour and will serve as a backbone to India becoming an empowered society and a robust knowledge economy. A lot of things may sound philosophical at this moment, but if you look at the reality, which is exactly what we are facing and we would like to discuss today, putting some straightforward questions to our panelists to seek answers. Let me have the pleasure of introducing our panelists today. Mr. Shankar Deshpande, Chief Town and Country Planning, Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority. Pursuing PhD from IIT Mumbai, Mr. Deshpande is a celebrated TEDx speaker, specialist in urban planning and design. He has contributed immensely to MMRDA and represented the organization in several international fora, including the United States, Australia, Japan, Switzerland, Spain, and so on and so forth. We are joined by Mr. Kishore Kanyal, Commissioner, Gwalior Municipal Corporation and Executive Director, Gwalior Smart City. He has championed many causes towards transforming the city into a truly sustainable and inclusive. Besides routine governance and administrative works of the corporation at Gwalior, he has spearheaded a number of initiatives that will go a long way in helping Gwalior stand out from the rest, starting from imparting a behavioral change in citizens towards cleanliness to conserving a rich built and cultural heritage of Gwalior, to introducing state-of-the-art ICT-based smart solutions in governance. The catch point here is behavioral change in citizens towards cleanliness. Excellent. Mr. Prashant Bhandarkar, Superintendent Engineer, Nagpur Metropolitan Region Development Authority, who is Bachelor in Civil Engineering and MBA in Finance. He has worked on various projects, including Hill Road Housing, country's first ever musical fountain, PMAY, and developing the religious circuits to help promote pilgrimage with an experience. Mr. Pandit Khandu Patil, Chief Officer from Lonavala Municipal Council. He is an environmentalist and has developed and installed free solar mobile charging stations in the city of Lonavala. This in addition to increasing the green cover in the city. Clean Lonavala, Green Lonavala is his motto and has spent over 12 years in the field. His vision for the city is to attract more tourists who will bring in enhanced revenue for the city and giving them safety and convenience at every step. Good step. Mr. Mir Tafweez Mahmood, Executive Officer, Municipal Committee from Pahalgam. He earlier served as an executive officer in Kokonag and Directorate of Urban Local Bodies, Kashmir. He was a managing partner of Green Ecos. He obtained MPhil in ecotourism from the Central University of Kashmir and is currently pursuing his doctorate in tourism. He even represented the state in Nation Winter Olympic Games in snow ski. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. So my first question goes to Mr. Deshpande. We will pose questions one by one and seek everybody's response, maybe for 2 to 3 minutes before we move on to the next one. And then we get into a discussion mode. So Mr. Deshpande, what would be short, medium, and long-term reforms that need to take place when it comes to improving municipal governance, considering the challenges that we face? Mr. Deshpande.
Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome all. Yes, reforms, I think we are on a growing curve where a lot has happened and much has to happen, especially if you look at urban local bodies. In the short term, we think that all the building permissions for the citizens should have to go online, number one, because that is an area where the development has direct interface with the citizens. And number two, within the organizations, urban local bodies, as well as the corporations, councils, with the state government, the correspondence has to be totally digital. Then, if we take a long-term thing, then the certifications which are now given by various departments, you have to enforce the blockchain technology takes over, and one government which has approved the certification uploads it, and we don't have to ask the developers or the architects to come again and again. Apart from this, we also need to have ERP, BEAM, and GIS layers, all the information, because the decision making has to be now totally data driven. Once we say that, we need to collect the data, and all what we do has to be geospatially connected and ring-fenced. This certainly will improve the efficiencies of the functioning of the urban local bodies. More surveillance will come into picture, more transparency will come, and this will help ease of making business to a tremendous extent, and will also help monitoring the efficiencies of the employees and the deliverables which are expected to the citizens.
I think whatever you mentioned makes a whole lot of sense, because moving forward, technologies are something which is going to solve a whole lot of issues for the cities. But looking at the modern technologies like AI, we talk of ML, we talk of robotics and stuff like that. It requires a huge amount of investments, and cities unfortunately have always been lacking it because of obvious reasons, and not been able to go to the market to raise bonds and stuff like that. So how do we make that happen? I mean, sounds good, but how do we make that happen? Where's the money going to come from?
I feel that digital governance and digital technologies help themselves to generate finance because of their efficiencies which they bring in, transparencies which they bring in. You have to make a business case for every initiative. If we look at the example of what MMRD does with the commuters, we wanted to give an experience of seamless travel for all on the metro, and we thought that we should go with a digital card. Now we got sponsors for that. Banks came forward. We had this technology. Even the AFC machines which are there on the stations are getting sponsored. So it is something, if you have a platform and if you have a scale, then adaptability becomes easy. Only thing is to make a proper business scale where all the stakeholders are involved. If you could do that with the help of all the digital technology and intelligence and consulting together, then there is a way forward, and we should not only wait that finance is a hurdle and how should I take the reform. Reforms should go ahead. There is no dearth of finance if there is a will. That's what my say is.
Excellent. So let me move over to invite Mr. Kishore Kanyal, Commissioner from Gwalior Municipal Corporation, who is also the Executive Director of Smart City.
Yeah, Gwalior is a unique example of so many things. The city has got very good heritage properties. And then what Smart City has been doing over the last almost 4.5 years, trying to blend, digital technologies with the heritage conservation. we are trying to use technology for the betterment of the societies from different tools. For example, as you mentioned about the behavior changes in Gwalior. See, what we do, the use of technology in the sense that we have got 30 centers which are controlled through ITMS. And we use different places through public address system by sitting in my ICCC centers only. Here from, I can control, I can see who is violating, I can put fine against all those fellows who are violating things. So that is helping to discipline the behavior of the civilians, the societies, the people of the Gwalior. Meanwhile, we are also using this technology for controlling our traffic senses. Those who are violating, we are again putting fine upon them. And this is also becoming a source of revenue for us. Last 2.5 years, we have earned 3 crore rupees out of this fine system only. And we have made request to the state government that the fine system, the whatever contributions they're making, we should get around 75% of that. So the same amount can be further used for further enhancement of all this for the entire system. So we are basically trying to use the technology because as you see the Gwalior, once as a tourist point of view, if you want to ask someone, what do you know about Gwalior? He was asked about 2 things. One is Gwalior Fort, other one is Jaivilas Palace. Now people talk about Maharajwada, where because of the facade lighting, they have made that area so beautiful that whosoever comes there, they don't want to miss the place, especially in the evenings. The facade lighting has made the entire area looks beautiful. In fact, it can be compared to one of the best European places. So Gwalior is changing. This is what the theme we have given, and we are focusing on a lot of behavior changes. We are promoting such things where people's participation is there. Those citizens who are themselves coming up, we promote them, we facilitate them, we give them even the receptions. And those who make violations, we again put some fines also. So I believe that Gwalior is a city which is in budging up, and Gwalior is a city where the smart city is, this is the only city, I would say, out of 52 projects, they have completed 36 projects and 16 projects are undergoing on. So we are rapidly in the process of completing those projects. So, and we want to make these projects, open for the public and so that people should enjoy. So we have made different brochures for the people. We have installed different brochures to different locations, including airport, railway stations, hotels. So the people can come to see the different beautiful places that have been created by Smart City over the last 3-4 years. So we are not only on the one side using technology with the betterment, mixing up with a lot of attractive places and trying to convert these places revenue generated based on revenue generation to make it not only self-sustainable, even if we become a good source of revenue for the smart city as well as for the municipal corporation. So in my view, Gwalior is changing and a lot of changes have taken place. A lot of changes are taking place here. As one can see, the new airport is coming up, new railway development concept is coming up, new ISBT is coming up. We are coming up with so many new things, including one, we're trying for greenfield city within the SADA area, which comes in the periphery of urban area. So a lot of new things is happening. So, and the role of smart city has been wonderful, very, very nice. And all my team has worked very hard into it. And we have also got contribution from the district administration and the people's representatives and everyone. So I believe that, in fact, I invite all of you to make visit to Gwalior also and just see the changing Gwalior and a wonderful Gwalior.
Sure. Thank you. I'll come back to you and I move over to invite Mr. Prashant Bhandakar. Mr. Bhandakar, you are muted.
Sir, good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear us?
Yes, please go ahead.
NIT is a development authority. In Nagpur, there are 2 development authorities. One is NMC and another is NIT. So NIT is formed by the Act of NIT 1936. From then onwards, we have acting as a planning authority in NIT Nagpur city. So up till 80s, we have got some schemes. We have implemented 53 schemes, various schemes, acquisition schemes, some are housing schemes. But later on, in 80-85, the landowner has another aspect that they used to sold their land to a private societies, and the private society has sold unauthorizedly to the individual plot holders to the plots, and that plots were not regularized by the authority. These all unauthorized layouts were grooming in Nagpur. For that, in 2000, government of Maharashtra has put up with a unique idea to implement a Guntevari, which has been implemented through Guntevari Act. So those who has gotten cell deed prior to 2000 or any possession of society prior to 2000 can apply for a regularization of a layout, unauthorized layout, so as to have a regularization of his plot, and he can have a bank loan and can sanction the building plan on his plot. So with a unique idea, NIT has invited applications to regularization of plots. At that time, in the year 2000, 2001, around 22 lakhs applications was there to regularization of layout. And due to a shortage of staff and a crunch of staff, it was impossible for NIT to implement the huge application which was received in NIT. So at that time, it was decided to implement this all regularization scheme through e-governance, that is Guntevari governance model, which can have an unique result and fast result to the public. So these all application was put up in the e-governance software, and accordingly we dealt these 2 lakhs applications through e-governance. We issue some memos, some demand notes for regularization through e-governance. After payment of this development charges, we issue them a regularization letter, RL letter, which we say. And after RL letter, he can sanction his building plan through NIT and get a loan, or can have a authorized building on his own plot. So for this, we have received a 2 lakhs application, out of which we have dealt all 2 lakhs application. Near about 1,40,000 RL have been issued up till now. And later on in 2020, so Maharashtra government has extended that limit of 2000 to 2020 of cell deed. And after that, we again gone for applications to people, that if they have got a cell deed up to 2020, they can again apply for the regularization. At that time, we have got an online application from them, so that minimum human interface can be there. They can apply their applications for regularization from any place of world by sitting in home or by any place. They have to only load their mobile numbers, their cell deed, Aadhaar card, and minimum 2-3 documents they have to upload the documents. And accordingly, now we are targeting the application which has been received online also. So our job is now been easy due to this e-governance platform.
What's your opinion about the dematerialization of land records? Because starting with the rural, then ultimately it's going to be covering urban as well. So what's your opinion about it?
I think the dematerialization of land record should be there in the form of in the developed world IT sector, and all facilities which are now available. We should go for an electronic data record. So we are also creating this e-governance has also created a database which their cell deed and all documents are now with us. It can be stored in the form of electronic form. So it is easy for us to have a space also. And what happens that if sometimes we need it, his hard copy can be asked to submit in the office also.
Sure. Thank you for your submission. I'll come back to you. In the meanwhile, I invite Mr. Pandit Kandu Patil. Are you there with us, Mr. Patil?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Patil? I think he's there, but his video is switched off. So Let's invite Mr. Mir Mahmood from Municipal Committee Pahalgam.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm basically the executive officer for Municipal Committee Pahalgam, and I'm holding two other charges of Municipal Committee Achbal and Ashmukam. I would like to draw the attention of the panelists to the problems. We agree that in these technologies, the digital technologies are need of the hour. But we also need to understand the fact that for small towns that have just been recently nominated as towns, the problem still lies there. For that matter, there is a good chunk of population that still, we can say, are illiterate. And when we are turning our focus totally on internet-based services, say, for example, we're offering services, building permissions completely online, death and birth certificates completely online, and there is other trade licenses, for that matter, completely online. But still there are people who come to the office and say they don't know how to apply online. We face that difficulty, and if we don't talk about it, the problem is not going to get solved. Second is the problem, say, funding for bigger towns is not a problem. Say, for that matter, Municipal Council Delhi, huge funding opportunities. For a small town like Ashmukam that hardly has land availability, and even for that matter, we cannot find land for small infrastructure creation, because the unorganized development of the town prior to the notification as town has already taken place, and we cannot ask people to dismantle their homes for creation. That problem needs to be discussed more often to come up with a proper solution. So I guess digital literacy and digital governance is important for making the street smart, but it cannot be taken totally in a way for small towns that is going to affect small shopkeepers, because all of in a day I get 2 or 3 people who come to the office just saying that I ask them, you can apply online, and they say, where to apply online? And then I have to send an employee of mine with that person on some computer and ask them, you have to apply like this. And I know they are not that literate to have that. So that needs to be talked, and that needs to be discussed. Equally important to talk about the limitations part, the flip side of digital governance or smart street, so that an effective mechanism is on offer.
I fully understand, and I actually appreciate the 2 points that you have raised. One is of capacity building of the citizens interacting with the government, and second is the ICE activities which need to take place. I think with both of them, it would be possible for you to free your manpower from helping citizens interacting with the government in a digital way. In fact, the very objective of digitalization has been to take the discretion out of the system and let the citizen interact directly with the government without anybody's advice or intervention. And if, despite all of that, 20 years into e-governance, and we are facing the same trouble of empowering people how to use it, they are not able to use it, then I think there is some problem somewhere, and we have not been able to really achieve those targeted objectives. You have actually pointed out, because in large cities, it may not be the problem. In metropolitan areas, it may not be the problem. But in the smaller cities and towns where people hardly have any exposure to computers, how to access digitally. And then all those problems keep coming back, which is what we're trying to avoid. So we'll try and get answers to your question, the problem that you have posed. Let's take this further to Gwalior. Something very important pointed out by Pahalgam Would you like to, make a suggestion or two how to help them? Mr. Kanyal.
Sorry, we actually, due to connectivity issue, missed a point from Pahalgam. Could you please highlight what exactly is the opinion sought for?
Mr. Mahmood, would you summarize the two problems that you are facing? The benefit of Gwalior?
Sure. We were just discussing about the limitations, the flip side of smart city concept, and 2 points that I highlighted. One was about there is a good chunk of population who still, we can say, are not internet savvy, or we can, for that matter, even some are small chunk but illiterate, but they also need the services of the municipalities, for that matter, say, be it. So we were just discussing about the flip side of the smart city concept, and 2 points that came into discussion. One was that there is a chunk of population that still is not internet savvy, and for that matter, there is a chunk of population that are not literate. And when we are shifting totally our services online, it is difficult because still those people have to come to our offices and seek help from our support to avail the services, because larger concept of smart city has been that a person should avail the services from the comfort of his home or anywhere he is comfortable, rather than coming to the office or visiting any computer center for availing the services. But these problems are very relevant to small cities like Ashmukam and Achbal in Kashmir, rather than with the bigger cities where the problem might not be there.
Yeah, so this is the point actually was made by Mr. Mahmood, that smaller cities still face the problem of people not getting used to the digital services which are available online. The capacity building is lacking, and due to poor ICE activities, they are not able to actually serve the population well. The situation in Gwalior is totally different. So what would you recommend Pahalgam to do?
Yeah, actually, these are the common things when we start any new thing in any place. This is what the common problem we face. Initially, when we started up in Gwalior, we also faced the same challenges. See, 2-3 important aspects that we have to look into it. One is that you have to increase your awareness, different advertising campaigns, publicities that you have to make. Then you have to make a lot of interaction with the people. Just like for the sanitation campaign. I used to be part of most of the religious places where there used to be religious, people, they used to make speeches. I used to become part of them. And I used to make take few minutes. I used to tell them about the sanitation campaigns. Similarly, if there is any, am I audible?
Yes, of course. Yes.
So we also take the help of, say, newspaper, print media, electronic media, social media, and these are the important tools which increase the level of our access to different, even the remote areas. Because publicity makes a lot of difference. That's what I have observed in Gwalior. Sometimes we are unable to approach them, unable to reach, or our team is unable to reach to the people who are living, say, in different locations. But through media, we can reach to those areas. So I think use of media is very important. We can have, cup of tea with the media people, and you'll see they will spread all your good things into different places. Then the access of this media is, in most of the areas there, through different media, as I said, electronic media or social media or newspaper. Even you can also use the use of radio, FMs, which has got a very good access. We use all these things. So then sometimes I also tell my team to go yourself to different areas and make presentations, what we are doing, how we can use latest technologies. Because using Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Mr. Kanyal, you're audible. Please go ahead.
So sometime I tell my team to go to the different places, make their presentations, have interaction with the people, make awareness amongst them. And sometimes you have to have such sort of interaction, which is very interesting. Why we are doing this thing? Why don't you become part of it? What are the advantages of it? Sometimes storytelling, even the play is also play a very important role in exhibiting what we want to say. So these are the important tools, I believe, which helps us to increase our whatever we want to say to them, and we want to make people as part of it.
These are excellent inputs, and so ultimately it boils down to sensitizing people and involve them in both the feedback mechanism and trying to address the problems that they're facing. So probably there could be a takeaway for Mr. Mahmood there for you. In fact, in case you would like to understand more, so offline, once we are done with the conference today, you could get in touch with Gwalior and seek their help. Moving on to the next one, in fact, it's very important that the financial health, which Mr. Deshpande, in fact, in the beginning pointed out, that remains a very big issue. And there are hurdles in raising municipal bonds. This was one which was started early on by Pune, and then probably, Hyderabad went for it, and a couple of more cities that happened. They've raised to the tune of some 2,500 crore rupees through municipal bonds, but it remains limited. So the question is, why it is not proliferating? What are the hurdles? What needs to be done? So let me start with Mr. Bhandarkar.
So NIT is a ULB and a development authority. As a NIT, we don't take any financial help from government, Maharashtra government. We have got an ample land bank, which we generate our funds from selling the plots of land. So to develop such some technology or some modification in any system, we used to use our own money to develop it. So we don't have to float any bond or any this. Due to selling of plots, we can earn many money, so that our establishment charges and other charges can be governed by it.
But not everyone would be as lucky as you are across the country. Just
Yes.
maybe on the fingertips you can count. So
Yeah.
do you think that going to the market, asking, raising municipal bonds is a good idea? If it is yes, then why is it not proliferating?
Sir, as a development authority, each and every project can't give a revenue to a authority. So some of the projects are loss-making projects. So how can we earn by taking a bond, or if the bond we can generate a revenue from any bond? So it is very difficult to have a revenue generation from that bond. For example, we have developed a swimming pool, international class swimming pool. We have done an expenditure of around 25 crores on it. So how can you expect that some profit can be generated from a swimming pool or an international skating ring? We have also developed it. It is a loss-making projects. Being a development authority, it is your responsibility to give facility to the citizens. So I think bond may not be a good idea to generate a fund for an institute.
So, Mr. Deshpande, you also happen to be a metropolitan development authority, and considering what Mr. Bhandarkar is talking about, that it's not really a good idea to go for bonds, because you don't know whether you're profit making or not, and to raise funds. So do you have an alternate opinion, or you agree with him?
Yes, I'm independent on this.
Deshpande.
Hello.
Deshpande is not with us any longer. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you just repeat your question was?
Yeah. So as Mr. Bhandarkar said, that as one of the metropolitan development authorities that he is, he doesn't really require to go for the municipal bonds. He doesn't find this to be a viable alternative to raise money because if the project or the authority is loss making, you will never be able to do it. You also come from another development authority, which is MMRDA. So do you agree with his submission or you have an alternate opinion? Is it a good idea, bad idea? Do you agree with him?
Yeah, if I can gather you correctly, your question is that whether municipal bonds is a good idea of raising finance. Is that what we are
Correct.
talking about?
Correct.
Yeah, municipal bonds is a very good idea, provided the municipal properly maintained. You need to have a good fiscal discipline to have municipal bonds, because it is not only borrowing, it is the money which you have to pay back, and you have to earn some amount of dignified rate of return for on these bonds where people trust you. The most important thing is municipal bonds indicate that people have trust in corporation, people have trust in urban local bodies, and therefore people have trust in the bonds. Now one has to develop this trust by the deliverables, by efficiency, by transparency. And that's a huge take for the transformation. It's not only that you have land values and sometimes you recollect the money and get some asset valuation done. It is because bonds are for a long period and you have a perpetual financial and fiscal discipline and plans in place with your assets. So a good balance sheet for urban local bodies with a discipline is a good, what we can say, base for going for municipal bonds. Yes, it is good. It is done globally, and we all should go in these directions only because it will keep the state budgetary from less load and the central budgetary from less load if you can leverage this. But yes, it's not only to say municipal bonds, it's a huge responsibility of urban local bodies and corporations to ensure that the people have trust in what you do, and to maintain the trust continuously, you will have to deliver with a lot of transparency. Well, number one, that is good. A lot of reforms to come, number two, and you have to take digital transformation and financial discipline together. Once you do that, municipal bonds are there for taking. Yes.
So if I take your inputs correctly, that not only that people have to trust in the functioning of the municipal authority, municipal body, the corporation itself has to believe in its own strengths, that they would be able to return those kind of financial gains in response to the bonds. So ensuring ensuring and providing transparent citizen services with improved service levels is something which is what a municipal corporation is supposed to do, while people also need to believe that they indeed would be able to deliver. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. What I'm trying to say is it will improve the internal efficiency of the system, because you are reportable on day-to-day basis on maintaining fiscal disciplines. Your decision makings will be what we can say more democratic in a way, more transparent in a way, and the way forward is that you will become very accountable yourself once you start raising the money from public and you become accountable to public at a large. And the only benefit what we can get is the leveraging.
So
X amount, you can do 1.5x, 2.5x the project of that size.
So does it mean that the cities are scared? That's the reason why this bond financing is not taking off.
No, it is not. If you want to approach the markets for bonds, then you need to have a fiscal budget. Number one, you have a discipline, you have a balance sheet which talks about it, and you have a pipeline of projects to be implemented and revenue streams. Now, nobody is going to invest or undertake your bonds if you don't have a stream of revenues. Now, every city has to prepare these kind of things, and not every city is blessed like Mumbai or Nagpur or Pune, where you have land assets with the organization. And that is the key. So if you have urban local bodies in tier 2 or tier 3, you need to have a land base, you need to have a revenue streams, you have to have projects in the hand. Unless all these project reports are in place, you can't approach this market for raising public money through bonds. One thing is good, you will have a discipline. One thing is good, that you will be accountable. Now, all the projects and all the investments will go through a standard operating procedure which are of best practice. That's what, and this will also ensure that the quality of infrastructure which is implemented will be very much updated and high skill.
Correct.
Plus operation and maintenance, which is a key part in maintaining any asset which is created by local bodies. will also be of very good quality once you have bonds, once you have operation and maintenance taken care, and the entire life cycle of project is accounted for.
Right. So, Mr. Kanyal, what's Gwalior's perspective in this?
Point actually, something different. See, in our country, only 16, 17 municipal corporations, they have gone for the municipal bonds. And most of the cities, they want fast development. And right now, their sources of income is either internal or grant from the central government or from the state government. Our country, the municipal corporation overall, they hardly contribution from these institutions, outside the institution is just 1%, it's less than 1%. Whereas if you make comparison of taking loans of foreign corporations is sometimes 100%, sometimes 200%. Why can't we also go for long-term loans from various international institutions? Let's say JICA, it gives loans up to say 30 years or 40 years with some maybe 10 years moratorium period with rate of interest 1 to 2%. And if we get loan and the state government say give liberty to us and say it doesn't raise any question to it, then I think the pace of development will increase very fast. As we have a target to urbanize 50% population in coming 25 years. So that can be achieved when we'll make solid, robust infrastructure in the cities. And that includes, of course, roads, water network, sewage and all that, and lighting and all that. And we are also opening ways for private investors to come to the city and make further development. Just take the example of Gwalior city. Now, this is the city which is having 423 square kilometer area for the development, which is one of the largest and this largest municipal corporation in Madhya Pradesh. Just you can imagine we are having only population of 50 lakhs, but area is too big. So we have a very big opportunity also for development and the scope of taking loan also. So I believe that since the city is now coming up with so many new things, including airport, railway station, ISBT and all that. So we have a very good chance, but we also need fund. Now, central government is definitely giving us some grants through Amrit, they're giving us grants, some Jan Shakti program is coming up, a lot of programs are coming up. But how much money we'll get if we want faster development in a very short period, then definitely we need to take loan. A loan that of 1 or 2% interest with the moratorium period. And then through internal system, as you said, we have to increase our property tax collections, garbage, and water taxes, whatever it is, taxes, user charges, and we have to give facilities to citizens. And in return, we should earn money. Every municipal corporation now trying to monetize the land, which is a vacant land which they have. We also try. We have earned last year around 20 crore rupees after monetizing those things. But if we want, suppose if Gwalior Municipal Corporation say get 1,000 crore rupees loan, just see the pace of development. It will change everything. Recently, we have gone for the comprehensive mobility plan. The draft got ready. Now we are talking to them to please make us drawing, design, detail estimate so that we can ask for the money, whether for the central government or state government or for the internal sources. So that will definitely increase the pace if we get some good sources of revenues, good sources of loan part, and that can be done when we are allowed to go for loan from international institutions.
Sure. Do we have Mr. Patil with us? Lonavala, it's still switched off. Can you hear me, Mr. Patil? I think he's still facing some connectivity issue. Just last one quick question before we wind up the discussion. We have understood a whole lot of stuff when it comes to the financial health of the cities and the problems that cities face. There is another challenge today, which is of the carbon emissions and the need to adopt better technologies across sectors and industries. So what is it that individually happening in the cities and what needs to be done? Because this is emerging as a big area of concern. And also each city is now going to be earning the carbon credits, which are going to be, valued differently for each city individually. So if I may, ask Mr. Deshpande for his quick reaction on this. Deshpande, I think since he was on the move, he is not with us. Mr. Bhandarkar?
Sir, we are promoting to a green buildings. We have constructed three government green buildings in our regime. Now, secondly, we are planting more trees. Means in 2014-15, we have planted 2 lakh trees in city. And this time we have planted 20,000 trees in city. So we are pushing forward for more on plantation also, and to go for a green building also, to promote green building concept.
Mr. Deshpande?
Can you just tell me what are we discussing? I lost your voice in between.
Yeah, we lost that connection. In fact, what I was asking that, apart from all the challenges that we have discussed so far, one new emerging challenges the CO2 emissions. Need to adopt better technologies across sectors, industries. You need to handle this situation, and also moving forward, we are going to be earning carbon credits. So, what should be done? What's the way moving forward?
Yeah, nice, interesting. If you talk about green gas emissions, and if you're talking about cities, we all know that most of the cities are contribution to the growth of the country, GDP contribution, plus also high energy consumption, as well as more greenhouse gas emissions. And then as a city planner, for an urban planner, or for city development and the municipal corporations, there are various sustainable development goals which we have to achieve for either 1.5, 2 or 2 degrees or net zero, whatever we say we have to do. Most of the factor which we know is it's 100%. If we divide into 3 parts, about 70% come through energy, which is from buildings and all other energy consumption. So we have to go clean and green on energy consumption. 20% contribution to GHGs from the cities is coming from transportation, where we are handling public transport to be enhanced, and about 4 to 5% is coming from the waste, which is been not tackled in an environmental friendly manner. Now, if we come about energy, 70%, we have to go for clean energy. Most of the buildings have to be efficiently used, as well as we have to use all the smart tools for efficient use of the building. Even if you talk about the elevators which are consuming electricity, and we come and see that 1% taking elevation up and 1% coming down, even at that level, if we start bringing efficiencies in the building, and we have the building management systems in place for all the new buildings, and retrofit the old buildings, use wherever there are solar quotients possible in the geography of nation, where you are permitted to get more and more solar rays, you try to use your solar roofs to convert the solar energy and capture that. However, in urban areas, we can also talk about the 20% emissions which we can reduce drastically by moving to electrical vehicles on the private transport and public transport, which is electric driven, clean and green, and shifting the modal shift from almost, if you call a city like Mumbai, Nagpur, Pune, etc., where metros are now going ahead with every 10 lakhs plus cities, central government feeling that metro is the way. Metro is definitely an environmental friendly mode of transport. And if you see mobility for all and urban transport for all who moves, and if you are traveling on metro, that means public transport, and which is using clean and green energy, then you are saving greenhouse gas emissions on all the fossil fuel used electrical vehicle, non-used vehicles of 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler and 4-wheeler. So the way forward is shifting to EV, having more EV charging stations, having green and clean buildings, and shifting the role of public transport. Apart from that, if you see the urban planning, the land use and transport has to be such that people don't travel much and everything is walkable and cyclable distance, which is concept of transit-oriented development to way forward. That's what we are talking about, urban development and transportation hand in hand for sustainable urban development in future. That is how the urban carbon footprint will start reducing, and we will be doing our bit for adaptation measures of greenhouse gas emission reductions to achieve 1.5 and 2 degrees. That's what my take is.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. Kanyal, Gwalior.
See, for this, Gwalior has already taken a lot of initiative into it. In fact, I'm coming straight from the practical aspect. We are coming up with a 100-ton, CNG gobar gas plant with the help of IOCL, totally sponsored by Government of India. And now it will be operated by us after some time when it is totally installed. Then we are also going for the legacy waste treatment. It is again coming up. We are going for the tender now. So Gwalior city will take advantage of it. We have a plan to make city as a dust-free city target, 100 kilometers every year. Last year, we made 30-kilometer area totally dust-free zone. And we were surprised to know that once we were getting, last year, we were getting 25% grant from the Government of India. Now we're getting 75% grant because we have reduced PM10 up to 13%, which is the highest in Madhya Pradesh. So these are the steps which we're taking apart from greeneries, plantations, that's a routine thing. We want to focus on dust-free zones. So more pavers end to end, we don't want to make any place which is full of dust. So by putting pavers on both sides and making the roads beautiful, it looks beautiful and you get vibrant roads and you enjoy the place. In many of the roads I see in the morning now, more people walk into those areas. Where once people were not going to that area, but now they're walking to those areas and in hundreds and thousands of people they're walking. So my concept is that we should work simultaneously on these things so that we can go after all this coverage. So practical step we have taken up and God is improving a lot and we are moving ahead fast.
Excellent. Mr. Mahmood, one last input. Are you with us? Well, gentlemen, this has been absolutely a fantastic discussion. A lot of valuable inputs, brought in from across different domains, from the city development to a smart city to municipal corporations and even a remote area, which is in Pahalgam, brought in by Mr. Mahmood. So thank you very much. This is all the time that we have. I wish we could discuss a bit more. I'm still left with 3 more questions, but I guess some other time. Thank you very much, Mr. Deshpande, Mr. Kanyal, Mr. Bhandakar, Mr. Mahmood. We couldn't speak with Mr. Patil, but at some other given opportune time, we would like to interact with you once again. Thank you for joining us.